Hi, how are you? I'm good. Okay. Well, my real name is Sean. My real name's not Jack. It's probably going to blow the minds of many people. You're going to get a ton of questions now asking why I call myself Jack, but we'll get to that. I'm from Ireland, so I'm a really long way away. That would probably explain why I'm new to the whole South by Southwest thing. I don't get out to America often, and this will be my first time in Texas, so it's going to be a lot of fun. And I'll probably boil alive in the heat because I'm not used to that kind of stuff. But I'm 25. I play video games on YouTube, and I record myself doing it, and I yell very loudly at things, and I scream and shout, and I'm very mature. We'll get that out of the way now. So that's all I really do. I play games. I read comments. I interact with everybody online. I do vlogs from time to time. I'm a man of all trades, and as they say, a jack of all trades and a master of few. Oh yeah. Well, the name first, because I said my real name is Sean, but for some reason, because Sean is Irish, or yeah, Irish for John, and my mother kept saying that Jack was a nickname for John. I don't know why. They both had the same amount of letters. Just call me John then. But she said Jack was a nickname for Sean, so she used to always call me Jack when I was younger. So like I've been called Jack by my family my entire life. It was nothing new when YouTube started. But when I was in school, in secondary school, or I guess high school, to you guys, one of my friends found out that my mother called me Jack. So to try and make fun of me and call me like a little mammy's boy, he used to call me Jack all the time to try and make fun of me. And that kind of stuck for a while. And then we were out playing football one time, or soccer, and I can't remember who it was or the specifics of it, but a ball came towards me and another guy came up and hit me in the face. And he hit me right above my right eye, like where the eyebrow is. And it just cut open, it split open. I had blood all coming down my face, and I had to go and get it bandaged up. And then after a while, it kind of got infected. So the guy who was calling me Jack before then suddenly started calling me Jacksepticeye. And it stuck after that. And I thought it sounded cool at the time, because everyone had just been calling me Jack, and then he called me Jacksepticeye. And I thought it sounded like a cool gamer tag to have. And I couldn't think of anything else whenever I went online. So all my gamer tags used to be Jacksepticeye. So when YouTube came around, I had a YouTube channel for quite a while before I actually made videos on it, just to comment on other people's videos or like them or watch them. And then Jacksepticeye just sounded like a natural thing to call myself. So when I started making videos, I still had the same channel, and I just started uploading videos there, and Jacksepticeye stuck, and I don't know, I kind of took off. It's not the nicest sounding name. It doesn't sound great. It sounds very disgusting to a lot of people, and everyone would wonder why it took off to what it is. But I don't know, it's unique and nobody else had it, so that was one of the main reasons I did it. And the eye then, God, I wish I had one near me. I usually have like 15 of them all around my chair when I'm recording, and now there's none here, god damn it. But the eye was a thing that, I don't know, some guy came to me one time and he said, I really like your videos. I didn't even have 1,000 subscribers at this point. And he said, I really like your videos, I'd love to make, or I made a logo for you. And he made the actual logo that you still see on YouTube now. And he made like the little eye in the tank, because he thought like an infected eye in like a little beaker tank or a scientific tank. And then people saw that on Tumblr, on Twitter, Instagram, whatever. People just started making fan art on DeviantArt as well. And it grew into its own thing. Like, that's one of the reasons I like it, because I had nothing got to do with the name, I had nothing got to do with the logo, I had nothing got to do with the little mascot. So everybody else kind of took it upon themselves to make it this big grand thing that it is now. And then everyone was asking for plushies of it, so I decided to get them made. And now he became his own little character. He's a little Septiceye Sam, as I dubbed him. So I don't know, I like alliteration for names. So Septiceye Sam sounded good. So that's all it was really. People drew him like a sidekick to me, and he used to follow me around. And then PewDiePie made his game recently, and he was a sidekick following me around in that as well, shooting lasers out of its eyes. So it just made the most sense to actually give it a name and give it a character. So everybody else made it. I didn't do anything. I'm not part of this channel. I guess is probably the best way to summarize it, because I have no idea how it happened either. So stuff kind of just took off. I had been making videos for a while, for about a year, I'm coming up to like 3 years, so I've only been doing it like 3 years by now. March, and then it'll be 3 years. By the time South by Southwest is on, I'll be doing YouTube for 3 years. But it just kind of started. I wanted to make videos in my room because I saw other people doing it, look cool. And then I had made some videos and I had like 2,500 subscribers, and then PewDiePie had a shout out competition, and I was like, okay, I'll throw my name into that and see what happens. And I was one of the people who he picked out of like the bunch of like 4,000, I think. And then it went from 2,500 to 15,000, and then it kind of died down again after that. So I thought, okay, I have a decent audience here now of 15,000 people. If I want to do it properly, I should just like sit down, think about what I'm going to do, and like plan it out. So then I just started varying my games, and I don't know. I wish I could say like there was a point in time and there was a specific game that I played that just shot it off, but it just kind of came out of nowhere. I just kind of kept my head down and kept making videos, and then people kept subscribing all the time. I guess fast would be a good way of describing it, because everything just kind of happened in the last few years. It was like 2.5 million at the start of 2014 or 2015, and then now it's like 8 million coming on to 9. So everything just kind of happened all of a sudden. It's very overwhelming, but I'm very grateful for everything that's happened. I'm very lucky that people stumbled upon the channel when they did. I don't know, right now, when I started my videos, it was people like Markiplier, who was like a big inspiration, and Felix, PewDiePie, because I would watch them do it, and at the time I didn't even know YouTube could be a job, or it could actually, like, you could get any sort of revenue out of it or anything. These guys just seemed to like have really good fun playing games, and I was always a game head anyway. I always played games and wasted all my time playing them, and I saw these other dudes do it, and they seemed like they were bringing people a lot of happiness and a lot of joy. So I thought, you know what, I want to do that. I feel like I could make people smile or laugh, or at least entertain them, or not let them feel lonely if they're at home alone with the internet. So try and like breach that gap and be a friend to them through the videos. And I don't know, I guess those two would be one of the bigger influences, Mark and Felix. These days, I still look up to those dudes, but it's really weird now because I became friends with them after a while. So now I go to conventions with them, I hang out with them, I play games with them all the time. They consider me one of their own, instead of me still being this little tiny fan of them, always looking up to them all the time. But people like the Game Grumps, I look up to a lot. And just, in general, anyone who kind of has a passion for what they do. Anyone who has that genuine, like, fiery passion deep down in them that just throws themselves at what they do and really love their craft. And like any sort of actors that really embrace the roles that they do in movies and they're really good at it. Anything like that you can find inspiration through. As far as YouTubers go, probably Mark, Felix, and the Game Grumps. But again, anyone who's just positive in what they do. Anyone who enjoys what they do as their job or their hobbies or anything. Because it always brushes off on you, and that's what I kind of try and do in my videos, that you be supportive and you be positive, and then that positivity is spread to other people and they'll spread it to somebody else. So anybody who just loves life, really. It's such a cliche answer, I know, sorry. I'm trying to think back when I was doing it and the struggles I had at the start. Mainly just that, to work hard and like never lose sight of what you're doing. Because when you start off doing YouTube, the market is so saturated now. And it was even very saturated when I had started to do it. But just to keep in mind that it takes a long time for anything to happen. As long as you work hard at it, you have a good mindset about it. Like, never go out there and try and be famous. Never go out there and try and be the next PewDiePie or compare yourself to anybody who's already made it. And I say that in air quotes. Because you'll only disappoint yourself then. You'll expect stuff to happen super fast. And then when it doesn't happen, you get very discouraged very quickly. So do it because you really love doing it, and play the games that you want to play and do the stuff that you're good at. Or even if you don't want to play games, if you just want to do YouTube as a beauty guru or a vlogger or anything like that, do it because you feel like you have something to share or that you have a passion for it, because it's that passion that will drive you through your hardest moments, because it will really beat you down after a while if nothing happens. The internet can be an incredibly cruel place at times, and that will try and tear you down as well. And the world will always try and strip away your layers down to your very core. But I'm making it sound horrible. It's a great thing if you actually enjoy doing it, but just that there's a lot of hurdles to get over at the start. And if you keep that passion going, if you keep that desire to just keep pushing forward and improve and compare yourself to yourself, don't constantly compare yourself to people who are bigger or greater or already do it as a job, because they've likely been at it for a while. They've likely been doing it before they actually made it on YouTube as well. So just compare yourself to yourself and try and improve upon the stuff that other people are giving you feedback from. If people are being mean to you or not being nice, or they have some sort of negative feedback, take it and use it as part of your strength and work towards what you're going to do, because you'll start attracting people eventually who really like what you do and share similar interests. If you're doing it for money or fame, you likely pander to people in a certain way. And then you won't be creating the stuff that you want to create. So do the stuff you want to do, and then you'll attract people who like that stuff as well, and they'll be a lot more respectable of you, they'll be a lot more loyal to your content, and just be nice to people. If you're nice to people, they'll come back. A lot of YouTubers seem to forget that they take their audience for granted. They start out very small, they answer every comment, they appreciate every person who subscribes, and then they get like 5 million subscribers, and then they lose touch with their fan base. Which, if you keep in touch with your fan base, which I love doing, that's one of my favorite parts of doing the whole thing, is having people there watching you, because people have stopped me from being lonely by watching my content a lot, and they've really helped me out in a lot of ways. So interacting with them, and then they'll feel like they're worth something. They'll feel worthwhile. They'll feel not just like they're dollar signs to you or anything like that. And they'll come back and they'll watch your content and they'll be nice to you. So be nice. Just work hard. I always come down to like the 3 pillars of YouTube are interactivity, variety, and just, well, I guess niceness overall. But consistency is a big one as well. So variety, interactivity, and consistency. Those are like the 3 things that will get you through YouTube. Well, coming over to Texas for the first time, I've heard everything is very large over there. So I'm looking forward to that. I expect to see like giant cows everywhere and men going around in cowboy boots and cowboy hats all the time. You better not disappoint me, Texas. Sorry, that's stereotyping. I don't actually expect that, but I'm looking for...
I don't appreciate it at all.
I've just insulted every single person listening to this. But I'm looking forward to the sunshine more than anything. Coming from Ireland, we don't get that. It's rainy and gloomy all the time over here. And I'm looking forward to going over there. And I've heard it's a pretty big event, and there's a really good atmosphere around it. I've actually heard a lot of it from my oldest brother, who's big into music. So a lot of the stuff he's been telling me is like, when he heard that I was doing like the South by Southwest Awards, he was like, dude, really? That's like a big deal. Because he's always watching it, and he's always watching like awards for music and movies and stuff like that. So he's very excited about it, and he was telling me a lot of stuff about some of the people who have been there, some of the groups that have been there, the movies, the actors, the bands, those kind of things. So I don't know. I think I want to be part of the atmosphere. I love going to conventions, and I love being in that whole, like, being in a place where similar-minded people are, and everyone's kind of just enjoying games. Everyone's enjoying movies or music and stuff like that. And it's a really good atmosphere. You always meet some of the nicest people ever at these events. And I'm very much looking forward to actually being part of the awards show, because I've never done anything like that. So it's both terrifying, but it's also something that I'm looking forward to, like, taking on in my stride and trying to do it the best I can, trying to improve myself more than anything. And I'm looking forward to anybody who's going there to see me, because I'm not in Texas very often. So I'm usually in like Midwest or East or stuff like that. So I'm glad to be able to go to that part of the States and be there for the people who actually don't have to travel that far this time. Hey, it's me. I have legs. Look. I don't know. That's always my favorite part about doing these kinds of things, because you can do award shows, you can get accolades, you can receive awards, you can do all these great things, you can be in TV shows, but it's the people who support you all the time that really makes it worthwhile, because they're the ones who will be with you through thick and thin, and they'll support you no matter what. And it's always nice to see how much it means to them for you to actually show up and be there in person, because a lot of people, at least some of the people I've met at other conventions before, have always been very honest and very nice, and they've shared some very personal and deep things with you. And it's great to hear that you can be there for somebody who, even if it's just through silly videos of me screaming at video games and swearing at them all the time, but that you can actually like make them smile and you can connect with them a lot more. And they're, at the end of the day, they're all gamers at heart as well. So we can all sit down and it all boils down to we're all the exact same. And we all just enjoy some video games from now and then. And we all like to laugh and we all like to be happy. So I'm really pumped to meet people. Again, because I'm not in that part of the world very often. So I'm really glad that I can go there this time and hopefully spend as much time with them as I can, or at least meet them or wave at them. Anything at all. Yeah. I'll put on like my little white gloves as well. I'm going to be funnier, I'm going to be louder, and I'm going to look better in a suit than he did. I don't know, me and Mark are good friends, so I'm not really there to one-up him. I just don't want to, I don't want to disappoint people either, because he set a very high bar. So I have to get out there and show a lot more energy and just be myself and get out there, and hopefully people will enjoy that. Hopefully there's enough people in the crowd who know who I am, because I remember when Mark was doing it, everyone in the crowd was just there for him. So he was conducting them and he was telling them to cheer and everything, and it's going to be very awkward if I can't do that. But no, I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully I can just settle my nerves and get over that side of stuff first, and hopefully just enjoy being there and not take it for granted and not let it zoom by, and take the opportunity for what it is. Oh God, why are you asking the hard questions, man? And it's not even a case. I wish it was a case of like, wow, I've read so many books that it's between this, and this. It's a case of me being like, God, I don't read, because I don't know. Reading for me has always been like, I don't know. I must have ADD or something, because whenever I sit down to read, I can't concentrate on what I'm doing. But I have read a few books. Does the Attack on Titan mangas count? Because technically those would be the last things I read, or the guide for Bloodborne. But the last novel that I've read, I think, was The Shining, which was a while ago when I was back in college. I remember when I was traveling back and forth to college, I was on the bus all the time. So I remember reading that back and forth, and it's such a good book. And just before that, I had read Shutter Island. So I can't remember which one I read last. It was between the two of them. I think it was The Shining, which is like, I don't read a lot of books, but I know good books when I read them, and that was a really good book. What's your favorite book, Esteban? What's the last book you read? Oh, finally. This question I can answer. This question I can talk about. My favorite game of all time is Shadow of the Colossus. It always has been and probably always will be. But it's Shadow of the Colossus or Dark Souls. I think Shadow of the Colossus more because at the time when it came out, I was like 16 when it came out, and it really, I just went into GameStop one time and I hadn't heard nothing about the game because I didn't have internet or anything back then. And I picked up the case and it looked like a little dude fighting giant monsters. And that really appealed to me, and I went home and I played it and I fell in love. I played it like start to finish without stopping. And I think that because of like the time it was and the experience it gave me, it'll always be my favorite game ever. Versus Dark Souls. Dark Souls then is a very close second, a very, very close second. And I actually want to go play Dark Souls after this now because I'm talking about it. But for now, one of my new favorite games is Undertale, which came out in September last year. And that game just floored me. Because it kind of came out of nowhere. There was a Kickstarter for it. Some people were talking about it. A lot of people were hyped for it. Because the guy who was making it had done some mods for older games, very old school games. And he was part of the Homestuck series and he makes his own music and everything. So people had high expectations for him. And then he came out of nowhere with this game that I had never heard nothing about until it actually came out. And the internet went nuts over it. And there's like, within a month, it became like, I don't know what to compare it to, because it became its own beast. And there's so much fan art and so many remixes of the songs and everything that came out. And people were telling me in the comments, you gotta play Undertale. So I gave it a shot and I sat down and I played it, and it was one of those games where it's very crude to look at and it's very basic, like visuals and graphics and everything. So people wrote it off very quickly on my channel. But then people started to see how good the characters were, how good the music was, how good the story was, and I was doing all the voices for the characters and everything. So it gave a lot more life to it, and that series and that game like instantly went to like the list of top 5 games ever for me. Which is crazy because a lot of the games that come out these days, they're good, but they're not like greatest of all time kind of good. So, and for a game that's so simple and so simplistic looking, I don't know, it really, really impressed me. So I guess my top 5 games ever are like Shadow of the Colossus, Dark Souls, Final Fantasy IX, Metal Gear Solid 3, and Undertale. I think. Yeah. We'll go with those before I change my mind. Okay. Now there's a debate going on in my head. Do I actually try and think of something, or do I make something up to make me sound cool? I'm half Badger. We'll talk about that. I'm secretly Spider-Man. I'm Batman. I'm all the superheroes. No, God, what? Because I'm very open and honest in all my videos, and I've probably talked about everything. But I can like wiggle my ears. I can spread my toes. I can play the drums pretty damn well. I haven't played them in years though. God. If you guys have a drum kit at South by Southwest, I am all over that. I jam out in that.
We're gonna have to work on getting you your own stage.
Yeah, we can play like Rock Band or something. God, what is something cool about me? I'm the most boring person ever in real life. I can climb trees well. Oh, Lucky Charms, of course. As the Irishman, I have to say Lucky Charms. Oh, here's me Lucky Charms. Give me them marshmallows. Which is funny because you can't buy Lucky Charms over here, despite how Irish they are. It's like there's regulations against them because there's too much sugar in them. My favorite cereal, God, probably something boring. Cheerios. We'll go with Cheerios. I like Cheerios. I have fond memories of Cheerios.
Where can they find your YouTube videos?
Yeah, well, you can find me as Jacksepticeye on YouTube or Twitter or Instagram or anything. Being a YouTuber, you kind of have to have all the social medias. So just search Jacksepticeye in Google and you'll get them all. But mainly YouTube. And if I'm not on YouTube making videos, I'm likely on Twitter or Tumblr because I'm there a lot interacting with people. So come say hi. I'm very nice. I'm very friendly. I don't bite, even though I'm half Badger, but that's only at nighttime. Bye. Can't wait.